Round three. For those of you who are patient and have angelic dispositions, thank you for staying with me for this third attempt to do your beautiful presentation on 3 essential tips to grow your online tarot business. Now, as you can see, I've changed my background because I wasn't getting very good internet down there. My apologies for that. Those of you who are still with me, thank you so much. And thank you for the patience because I will need to go through just the beginning of my presentation again. So thank you for joining me, and my apologies if I've inconvenienced anyone with this technical stuff. We are currently in the middle of school holidays in Australia, which means lots and lots and lots of kiddies right now are playing Xboxes and online, watching movies and Netflix. So as a result, my internet has crashed twice now today. So thank you for still being with me, and I'm hoping that Joe and some of the lovely people who were with me before. Hello, Michelle. So round three, big breath. This is some of the joys of running an online business. I should have added that in as the 4 essential tips is recognizing that sometimes technology is not always going to work in your favor, as we've seen today. So thank you so much, everyone who is here again for the 3rd time. Those of you, Joe Carter, gotta love Australian internet. Yes. Those of you who are joining me just and wondering why is Sal going on and on about the internet, thank you so much, Carrie Ann. Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to share with you today some of my very best tips about how to grow your online tarot business if you want to grow an online tarot business. This is going to be really good for you if you are considering either having what I call a bricks and mortar business and adding an online aspect, or if you are solely just interested in online. So you just want to be online. Now, I would love to hear from everyone who's here today joining me, and just let me know if you would like to grow an online business, a tarot business, and be a tarot reader online, why that is. Like, what reasons for you would you like to have an online business? And while I'm waiting to hear back, a couple of people have already mentioned in my previous internet fiascos before the internet went down, a couple of people mentioned that they live in a country area, so they want to broaden their potential clients, which is a great reason to do an online business. So love to hear from you all about why you would like to grow an online business. Now, while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to talk about a little bit about what else we're going to explore today in this presentation, because I want you to get loads and loads of juicy value out of it. So as I said, I'm going to break down some really strong strategies that you can start implementing today even if you're just starting or thinking about starting an online business as a tarot reader, or you've done it for a while and you're looking for more inspiration to attract more clients. I'm also going to be talking about the Hierophant and Court cards, because I've had a few questions around that lately and I wanted to help people more with that. I'm going to be talking about how you can work further with me throughout this year, because I am running the 10-week advanced tarot program again live this year, which means group coaching and marketing and a whole lot of other stuff. So those of you who have asked me about it, I am starting it again in late March. So I'll talk a bit about that. And I'm also going to be talking about how you can get the new bonus that I'm adding to your tarot card success. Broken clients, it's cheaper than a bricks and mortar business. Yes, Nipra, that is so true. And I'm going to talk about that too. It is cheaper on some levels to run an online business, but there are also things you do need to consider, which I hope this will help you do. Now, and I'm going to give you strategies to keep it cheap for you so it doesn't become a big thing. Okay, so, and before I get started, I just would love to thank Claire Stewart, Eddie Andino, Misha, Rebecca Roth, Anas and Jacqueline Robinson for your gorgeous reviews that you put in Tarot Card Success this week. I'm really grateful. It really helps other students get to know if this is the right tarot course for them, and it obviously helps me be able to grow my business so I can keep making more courses for you. And unfortunately, there's a bit of a weird new system with giving reviews where there's like 3 little dots that you've got to find to do it sometimes. Not in everyone, but for some reason that came up recently. So if you see 3 little dots at the top of your lecture and think, what are those 3 little dots? They're actually where you post a review. I'm hoping Udemy is going to change it back to the star system, which is a little bit more easy to recognize. Okay. Nipra also says, yes, wants to broaden your client base. Awesome. Yes, these are good reasons to grow an online tarot business. Now, so what I'm going to do is I want to talk to you a little bit before I get started, because the 3 essential strategies I'm going to share with you, and they are about treating your tarot business as a business, not a hobby, and thinking about time and planning, being able to get comfortable with being visible and being comfortable marketing. And also I'm going to talk to you a little bit about reinvesting and paying tax and things like that. So some of those more practical elements. Now, the first thing I want to say from my heart, if I say anything today that triggers you, and you go, wow, Sal, that's really, I've been doing that. And, I'm not here to shame you. Please trust me. Those of you who have done my Manifesting Abundance with Healers and Psychics course, that's on Udemy. And I did that with the wealth coach, Miriam Castilla, for Healers and Psychics to attract more wealth, and Claire Money blogs. I did that because I know how many millions and gazillions of mistakes people can make when they're starting an online business. And I made a million and gazillion mistakes. Why I'm here today with you is because I want to help you avoid making those mistakes. Because sometimes we get started, and the internet, it's such a new world, and there's so much information out there and so many people vying for your money to improve your ability to be an entrepreneur and to run a successful business. And just a little incidental tip on that, some of the most successful courses and the most successful entrepreneurs in the world are people who basically teach other people how to earn a living on the internet. So you can see how popular that is for that reason, but you can also see why there's a bit of an information overload. And I want to just break down 3 really little simple things that you can take away today, whether you're just thinking about starting an online business, whether or not you are thinking you've been doing it for a while and you're struggling, or you've been doing it for a long time and you're looking for new strategies to boost up your business. Now, also, as I said, no name and shame. If I say something today that triggers you, one thing you can take away from this is I would love you to write it down and just journal it out and get really clear about it, because we want to knock this stuff out early. There's no point you investing your beautiful money and your beautiful time and your heart and your soul in a tarot business if you don't get some of this stuff out of the way early. Now, that doesn't mean you're still not going to have stuff. I had a load of stuff when I started being a professional tarot reader. I had baggage and baggage and baggage and baggage, and I worked continuously on clearing it. But I want to get as much stuff out of the way as I can for you. That's the practical stuff. So let's call it the Pentacles side of it. I want you to be kings and queens of Pentacles, not Knights of Swords. The Knights of Swords and the Page of Swords, they rush in and they're full of good ideas, but they're not really thinking about practical long-term solutions. Or they kind of got excited because they've seen, oh, I can make this much money as a tarot reader online, but they haven't really thought it through as a strategy about how they're going to do that. So I'm hoping to help you with that. Okay, Carrie Ann, more secure as I live on my own. I'm not keen on people visiting my home. Yes, I understand that too, for safety reasons, especially if you live in a city. Those of you who have done my Build Your Spiritual Business on a Budget course on Udemy, I talk about how to take safety precautions if you are having people visiting you in your home. And I can really understand the appeal of being online for that reason. Yes, Carrie Ann, I totally agree with you for that one. Okay, so I'm just going to get started. Now, first of all, I would like to talk to you about a concept that some of you may be familiar with if you've studied mindfulness, and some of you may be totally new at it, but it's really good to keep it in mind if you are going to be thinking about being an online entrepreneur. And that is that you have something that is called cognitive dissonance. Now, what that means is it's when your conscious and your goals and your mind is focused on, okay, I would like to start an online business, but you might have subconscious beliefs that I'm not allowed to make money as a tarot reader, and it's bad to make money, and if I make money, everyone's going to find out and attack me, or I'll never make money because, my parents said I have to get a real job, or that. And that's the stuff that works in the background that sabotages you and can often lead to either procrastination, or it can lead to doing some of the big common mistakes that I'm going to talk about now. So the first one I'm going to talk about is treating your beautiful online tarot business as a hobby. And I'm going to say, I would love you from the very moment you take your first client to say, I am now running a business. Okay, and get really comfortable with that. And the reason why is because I would say 70% of people who try to run an online business do not take it seriously themselves. And if you can't take it seriously yourself, then, and by taking it seriously, I don't mean you're not working. Like, some people can work 90 hours a week, but they're kind of not thinking in a business strategy way because they find that being greedy, or they find that being too corporate, or they find that being too confronting, and they don't feel worthy of it. Now, I'm going to give you a beautiful little analogy that I came up with a while ago about gently parenting yourself through this. I want to imagine that you have a child that wants to start a lemonade stand. And those of you who were kids maybe thought about, starting a lemonade stand, or wants to make cupcakes and sell cupcakes on the street and save up for something. Now, you would generally advise that child by saying, okay, well, first let's look at how much the mixture costs for the lemonade, or the mixture costs for the cupcakes, and how much the icing is. Let's look at, maybe investing in some money in a sign, some crayons, and then look at spending our time going around the neighbourhood and putting them up. And you would encourage that child, because you would be excited that your child was thinking, I want to earn some money and I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to invest in my business and I want to start being visible and doing this. But when it comes to ourselves, especially healers and especially psychics, it's like we go into this, but I can't market myself and I don't have any money to spend on that, or I'm just going to spend too much money and I'm not actually going to get any cash flow in. And we often almost yell at ourselves and go, look, I'm not running a business, or I'm not an entrepreneur. That's too grand. If I'm an entrepreneur, I should be successful. Or, so one thing you can get comfortable with is call yourself a solopreneur, like something like that. Like, you don't have to think, well, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm Steve Jobs, or I'm Richard Branson. You can say I'm a solopreneur, or I'm a heart-centered entrepreneur, or I'm a soul-driven entrepreneur. It doesn't have to be about I'm out there to make as much money as possible. It can be, I've got these natural gifts that I love. I love tarot. I would love to help people with my tarot readings, and I'd love to build a business around that and have a comfortable income. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that being your goal, but you've got to make sure those unconscious and subconscious beliefs aren't hammering you, going, who do you think you are? You can't run a business, and all those kind of things. Like, you're being greedy if you charge for money. Now, one of the big protests I get over the years when I say this to people is they go, well, what, I don't want to charge money. I want to give readings for free. And I go, that is fantastic. Like, if you feel in your heart that that's intuitively what you want to do, there is nothing wrong with that. But I would just like you to consider a little bit that most people who are psychic readers and tarot readers have invested a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy and sacrificed time with their friends and their family and their loved ones to pursue this profession. So it is love, but it is also obviously things they have sacrificed and invested in that. And if you're going to be an online tarot reader, you will do the same. So just keep that in mind when it comes to valuing your time. It's what most people, either they do too much or they do too little. And I'm going to talk to you a little about the people who do too little. People who do too little are the ones that go, okay, well, I'm just going to do a $10 course on Udemy, and then people will just come to me. And I have to say, look, I would love that to be the way, but there's big steps in between. Like, you've got to learn how to market yourself. You've got to set up a website. You've got to set up a Facebook business page. So those of you who have done my Build Your Spiritual Healing Business on a Budget, I talk about cheap ways to do this. You don't have to go out and spend $10,000 on a website. You don't have to hire lots and lots and lots of people or do a big $2,000 program to get those little things started, because that's where you're starting to go, okay, I'm investing my time. This isn't a hobby. This is something I'm going to invest my time in. Or in the case of a website, my money in starting to look like I am taking myself seriously. I want to talk a little bit around that way as well about giving too much. Now, this is the classic case. And people ask me all the time, and in every Facebook group this comes up. How many readings do I have to give before I can be a professional? There is no one solid number. There really isn't. It's all about how comfortable you feel. But I would say, if you want my experience, I gave between 50 and 60 free readings and healings, and then that was it for me. That I was done. I felt confident. I felt like I was ready to hang my sign up and get my website live and start advertising. And I was working in the shop at the time. I was ready. Now, for you, what I often see is a bit of a mistake in this beautiful group is people jump on and say, I'm offering 10 readings, and then I'm offering next week 10 readings, and then 10 readings. And I kind of see them doing that every week. And I'm like, okay, the first thing you need to learn about free stuff, and again, please don't be offended by this, but people value things that they pay for more than they do free stuff. Okay, so now I'm not to say if you've received a free reading in this group, I'm not to say that people weren't grateful, and I'm not to say I haven't received free stuff and been immensely grateful. But I often give this example about when I first started How to Be Psychic. When I first started How to Be Psychic, I gave out 100, this is when Udemy was, all courses were 97 US or like 55 US. I gave away 100 free coupons. So this is 6 years ago now. Of those 100 free coupons I gave away, less than 10% of people ever started the course, let alone finished it. Now when people buy How to Be Psychic from me on Udemy, I get like 60, 70% people finishing it. And that's just a different mentality. And some of you may have noticed you may be giving away lots of free readings in this group or other group and finding that, well, people aren't really thanking me, or people aren't really giving me the feedback they said they'd give me, or they're not really giving me a testimonial. Now, please don't get offended by this. Please don't think that it means that this group's full of horrible people. I've seen loads of people go on to have amazing careers getting started in this group. But it does mean it's a little bit of a life lesson with running an online business, that people will always jump all over free stuff, but they don't necessarily value it. And that's why the sooner you can think about giving away free readings as building up your confidence, building up your testimonials, and getting to become a bit more visible and known in Facebook groups, that's the purpose of it. Please don't necessarily doing it thinking I'm going to give away 10 readings and 70% of those people are going to buy a reading from me, because it isn't generally the nature of humans. Some do, but if that's your only online strategy right now, I'm going to beg you to reconsider. And I'm going to say, use it to get your testimonials up and to get practice, and then go, right, now I feel comfortable. I am now going to start charging. On that matter, you will get loads of people who ring it out to you and say, can you please give me a free reading? I suggest have a very nice, beautiful automated reply that says, thank you so much for contacting me about a reading. If you'd like to book a reading for me, half an hour costs this much, 45 minutes costs this much, etc. And that's it. And that's all you have to say. You don't have to even say, no, I don't do free readings. You just say up front, this is how much my readings cost. So I'm hoping that concept of valuing your time is helping some of you. Okay, so Michelle, I love helping people, but didn't think to do a tarot or even a business. Spirit keeps pushing in my path, so I figure I better listen. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some people never want to run a business, and that's totally okay too. But if you are thinking, I would like to do that, just keep in mind, I know someone mentioned earlier, I think it was Nipra, that yes, it costs less to run an online business than a bricks and mortar business, but it still costs like it. Trust me when I tell you, I invest a lot of money in my business. I reinvest a lot every year. So value that and value your time. Like I've spent over $10,000 on my training, and so I value that, and that's why I charge. And so for you, get used to, really honoring that and honoring what you charge. Awesome. Any comments there? Beautiful. Okay, so I also want to talk a little bit about time and valuing your time and planning. Now, most people, when they think about being an online entrepreneur, think, okay, well, I'm going to, I'm just going to jump into Facebook groups and I'm going to do this and I'm going to be on Facebook or I'm going to be on YouTube. I would suggest, even if you've only got 1 hour a week, like say you're working full time and you've only got 1 hour a week to dedicate to your business, that you plan and put that into action on how you're going to do that, how you're going to implement that hour. Be really, really strict with yourself that you don't do what I just call faff on Facebook. So faff on Facebook is when you're just there and you're going to look at your friend's new dress, or you're going to see what someone else is doing in the political realm. Suddenly you've spent 3 hours on Facebook and you have accomplished absolutely nothing for your beautiful business. We do this all the time. And I'm going to encourage you, I have set up these really clear strategies. So those of you who have done my VIP Psychic Business Program, which is how to earn more income with your tarot and healing services, I have a whole strategy on how you plan your week, plan your day, plan your month, plan your year. Free tools you can use to do that, for that very reason, to avoid the faffing on Facebook or faffing on YouTube or getting distracted. You've got to start thinking, okay, this is time I could be investing in learning more about marketing, or this is time I could invest in, you know, creating a banner for my website. So start being really, really protective of your beautiful time, because also what you'll find is the more and more you delve into the online world, the more and more opens up about things you could be looking at or exploring or researching. And you've also got to have a life. You know, you've got to have time with your beautiful family. You've got to have time with your body. You know, you've got to exercise and meditate and you know, give to other areas of your life. So you've got to make sure that you're being really precious with the time that you spend on social media when you're running an online business. It's definitely the biggest mistake I see people do. Now, the opposite is people that spend no time. So I often, people reach out to me and they go, how can I get started? How can I, you know, start attracting clients and in my online business? And I'm like, well, it's so different to when I started because when I started, I was bricks and mortar. I ran it out of my home and I worked in a shop, and people, you know, so traffic was coming to me through word of mouth. I had the shop, and, you know, I do a reading for someone and they go out and tell other people. And that's how I kind of got my reputation built up. Online, you do need to be consistent and you need to have a presence. So please make sure you invest a bit of time in having at the very least right now, if you don't have any income to invest, then a Facebook business page so people know who you are. I now won't buy off anyone online unless I can go to their Facebook business page. I know that sounds strange, but it's because I want to see what it is that other people think of them before I risk investing. I want to see what it is they've done or who they are, and do I resonate with their energy? So please make sure that you are spending time in Facebook groups, spending time in being an active participant and supporting people in groups, but also on your own Facebook page as well. Nipra, you feel like you're living your purpose with a tarot business, although you're not sure how much you would earn. That's a really good question, okay? And I get asked this a lot. How much am I going to earn? Like any business, it will depend, obviously, what you put into it, because and also every different country is different. Like what someone would charge for a tarot reading in India is very different to what they would charge in Australia, simply because the cost of living is very different. And again, what someone who lives in India might spend on software or VAs or other things to keep the business running would be different to what I would spend. So you take that into account. Again, it's looking at it as a business. So for me, you start relatively low. So if you want to go into this a lot more, I do suggest looking at Build Your Spiritual Healing Business on a Budget, because I do go into how you can individually break it down for your country. But just look at the average of what people charge and start on the lower end of that. But please don't give away too cheaply too much. So on that beautiful note, the lovely Anus mentioned something to me that she lives in Sweden, and in Sweden there's a very high tax, like a 60% tax or something. So she's a bit worried, you know, she says, well, if I charge $20 for a reading, I'm only going to end up with $8 or something. So should I charge higher? My answer to that, my first answer to that is absolutely yes. Like, I've been to Norway and I've been to Denmark 20 years ago, not now. So I know it's probably cost more then. And I assume Sweden's not much different. And I can remember I couldn't even sit in a taxi before the taxi took off without it costing me $20. So yes, I think definitely look at the cost of living and what you need to make a comfortable living, and price that accordingly. Please don't think just because I'm the cheapest, like, as I said, like, people don't always, if you've got a $20 reading, it doesn't mean you're going to attract more clients. You might attract more clients that are just like, you might attract 10, but you could maybe sell half and do half as much work. So please value your time like that when you are pricing. Yes, in the beginning it will be lower, but build it incrementally and you know, make sure that you feel comfortable. You're not going to enjoy doing readings for $5 each. Trust me, like $5 US. Like if you do it, you have to do 50 of them in a week just to pay your rent. That's the worst mistake. Nipra, you're in the US, perfect. So in the US, again, so I would look at just go into Google and type online tarot readings and just get an idea and see what people charge, how many years they've been working, what their experience is, and just kind of start at the lower end of that and then build your way up. You'll find no one gets their pricing right straight away. No one. I've never met anyone that does. We all fumble along with it for a while until we get the intuitive price that feels right, so we can start building up our business. So don't worry if you make a mistake on that. Nipra, I have a 9 to 5 IT job paying me well, but doesn't feel like I'm living my purpose. Awesome. So you are in a perfect position to, on the side, like perhaps on one night a week or one weekend of the weekend, to investing a bit of time into building slowly a business. So those of you who have done some of my other intermediate level courses, so Give Love readings and Psychic readings intermediate level, and what's the other one? Master Health readings, where I talk about psychic wellness. And I talk about when I got started, I was doing like 6 jobs at once and the other stuff on the side just to build up my client base. And I was super busy, but I was also, you know, making sure I invested that time in the business to build it up with the intention to get rid of all those other little jobs. So if you already have income coming in, that's great. Invest it in yourself and in your business. So what I want to talk about now, if anyone has a question about, sorry, just make sure I've covered everything. Time. Oh, okay, yes. Now, being discerning, part of being a smart online business person is being discerning about how much to pay for things, and how sometimes when to do it yourself and when to just throw money at it and go, okay, I just need to actually pay for that because it's going to drive me bananas and up the wall. And I had a probably an amusing thing happen a little while ago. I was a bit taken aback, but it was amusing, where a lady reached out to me on Tarot Card Success on the Udemy Q&A board, and she was really angry because she discovered that my course wasn't a certification course, because I only do that with the 10-week advanced tarot program. I do a professional level exam where I'm seeing you like I'm seeing you now, and I test you reading other people. And so she was really furious, and she said to me, she said, you know, if I just wanted to learn tarot, I would go and learn it for free on YouTube. I only signed up for your course because I just want insurance. And at first, obviously, I was a bit taken aback because I was like, wow, my beautiful course has no value to you. And then I went, wow, this woman must have a lot of time, because my course is 9.5 hours long. And I don't know if you've ever tried to find anything on YouTube before, but I'll go and look about how a microphone works, and it will take me 1.5 hours to find a 5-minute piece of information about how a microphone works. And so for me, I value my time more. I would rather go and pay $10 to do a course and learn about how that works structurally and know I'm going to get it, than sit through hours and hours of ads and 7 minutes of intros of people talking about their cats and bringing their cats in and bringing, you know, everything else in before they get to the point. So my time is more valuable than 5 cents an hour, basically. And so start thinking about that. Like, what in your online business can you invest a bit of money in? If you're someone like me who's really not that good at graphics, can you pay someone on Fiverr to do your Facebook business graphic page? Like, think about things that you can do that are not going to cost you the earth, but also value your time a little bit more than having to always do it yourself. Now, good question. Do you need a license to start an online business? No, you do not. Anyone can start an online business. However, depending on where your country is, at some stage, you will need to register it as a country for, if you want to get insurance, but also for tax and things like that. So I hope that makes it, but you don't need a license to do it. In Australia, we have what's called an ABN, which is an Australian business number, and I want to talk a bit about that. And some of you might have also similar. It's actually free to sign up, and it lets the government know that you are thinking of starting a business. Now, please don't do this. Please don't go and run out and get your ABN or your company number or your company, whatever, if you have to pay a certain amount of money, or even if it's free, until you're 100% earning money. And I'll tell you why. Because I started mine at the beginning of, no, it was the end of 2008, 2009, when I started thinking about running a business. I thought, right, I'm going to go get my Australian business number. Now I'm going to run a business. I got super excited and I got it. Unfortunately, when it came to tax time, the accountant looked at my thing and went, well, I rang the tax department and they said, oh, you've been running a business for a year. And I was like, no, I haven't. I've been running a business for about 4 months. And they said, no, you've been running it for a year. It says here, this is when you got it. And they start wanting to look at all your figures. And I was like, I'd only been running it for 4 months. And I had to sort of explain. I had to show statements. I had to go through all this rigmarole. So wait till you start earning money before you start doing things like getting licenses or business numbers or company names. I just want to let you know that, so you don't, because I got caught in the wrong tax year too. So I didn't start running a business until July, and I'd done this in January. So they thought in the former year, I had to prove what my business earned, and my business had earned nothing because I hadn't started it yet. And it took a lot of explaining. So avoid that, please, for those of you who live in Australia, but also those of you who are thinking I need a company license. Just start small, wait till you're earning money and then do that. Don't feel like you've got to get all that stuff done at once. Okay, so I'm going to cover that a bit further later, actually. So the second thing I would really like to talk to you about, and now, if this is, again, I want to know if this is making you feel uncomfortable for any reason, share that with me so I can help give you some solutions. Michelle, you're not a social media person. It's my first time catching you live. I'm enrolled in a few of your courses. They've helped me and I'm enjoying the session and finding it helpful. Do you do these sessions? Yes, I do. So I try to do one once a month in here. If you're not on social media very often, Michelle, just make sure that when you, in your Udemy notifications, there's a thing that says educational announcements and you can tick it on or off. When you first joined, you might have ticked it off. I send it out every month. So, or every 2 months if I'm only doing it. Whenever I've finished, within 3 or 4 days, I'll send it out. So if you're not on social media, you'll still get it through your educational announcements in Udemy. Okay, what about the taxes? Now, the reason I don't go too much into taxes is because every single country taxes differently. So as I mentioned, Sweden taxes at 60%, Australia's 30%, I think the States and Canada are more like 20%. So the taxes, yes, but what I wanted to say to Anus about paying tax is keep in mind that in the very first year of your business, you're probably not going to be making a huge amount of money and you're probably going to be spending a lot of money investing in the business. So for me, my first few years of running my business, I didn't pay any tax because I got it all back. Because when I went to lodge my tax return, my business had earned under the threshold, but also I had spent so much money investing in advertising and different stuff that I didn't owe the tax money anything. So you might find that, you know, it does take a while to build up your beautiful online business. It might take you a year before you're starting to earn regular income. So don't worry about, you know, too much about the tax thing straight away. Don't let yourself get fearful about that. Now, and if you do get fearful about that, I can recommend, there is in my manifesting course that I talked about, the Manifesting Abundance for Healers and Psychics, I've got a whole thing about a healing thing you can do on taxes, because people get really overwhelmed and worried. They go, oh my God, if I earn money now, I've got to pay more tax, and I'm not going to be able to charge enough to justify the tax. I want to help you clear all that. Like, go in and look at how to tap that out. Get rid of that. I was afraid of paying tax for a while. It really did my head in. And it was the first time I did it, it was like such a relief, because I realized I didn't owe anything. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay all this money and I don't have all this money. And it was like I actually didn't have to pay anything because I didn't reinvested it in my business. So don't worry too much about that. Do I think a full online business could get us paid more compared to bricks and mortar? Wow, that's a great question. Look, the thing with it, that's a good question, and I'm going to you're leading into exactly what my next topic is. I don't think there's a more or less contingent, but obviously if you are running a bricks and mortar business, then it's going to be mostly one-on-one services. If you're running an online business, then you'd be doing one-on-one services, but you can branch out. You can make YouTube videos. You can do like Udemy courses like I do. You can run coaching sessions that are like group coaching sessions. So coach 10 people at once like I do in the 10-week advanced tarot program. You can basically do more. So I think the potential is there to make more money. However, and I'm going to say a big, massive however right now, most people get a little bit, again, they think, oh, well, running an online business is the cheap solution. However, it does take a lot more time and a lot more effort to drive traffic and get visible in an online business. So for me, as I said, it definitely wasn't easy, but it was much easier for me working in a shop and working at home, because people could find me very easily. They'd walk past the shop and they'd go, oh, tarot readings, and they'd toddle on in and they'd see me, connect with me, go tell all their friends. And if I didn't work on that day that the friends wanted to see me, they'd come and see me at home. So I would get exposure and traffic without spending anything. However, and I will add this, I was spending obviously on my earnings because I had to give 50% to the shop. So there's always that to consider, that as you said, the overheads are bigger. When it comes to running an online business, and I'll give you a really good idea right now. These are things I spend on every month, okay? So I have a beautiful VA, and I spend a fair bit on her to help make my life so I'm not spending 150 hours a week in the business. I pay for something like 5 different types of software that keep my website running, that keep my Facebook generating, that keep my email campaigns up. I obviously invest in lots of equipment to make my Udemy courses. So you can make a lot of money, but you have to work hard in the beginning, and then you can kind of, till you get a strategy. And you also have to make sure that you are continually reinvesting in your business. So the advice that I gave to Anus is, when you start earning money, reinvest it. Like, please don't just take it and spend it on shoes or like going out to dinner. Like I think that's one thing I did quite well in the beginning, is that I would earn money from my readings and I'd put it straight back into advertising or something else, or I'd keep reinvesting it. So yeah, or I took time off. So when I was starting to really get like booked out weeks in advance with my readings, and I was making really solid, good income, I actually worked, and then I took some time off. I took 3 to 6 months, I think it was about 3 months full time off to make my first How to Be Psychic course. So that's how you can work it. YouTube videos does help with marketing. I go into this a lot more in the VIP Psychic Business Program. So if you're interested in that, do reach out to me. It does, but again, you've got to be consistent. You can't just make one video. So there's something in the online world that's called reach. And reach just means you have to constantly be looking at how to expand your reach so that you get more and more clients, and also more and more people hear about you. And YouTube videos are a great way to do that, because people obviously see them and they're free and they go, oh, I like that person, I gel with that person, I'd like to know more about them. One mistake people make is they go and make all these YouTube videos and they've got no call to action. So a call to action is, if you want to work with me more, go and look at my website and check out my readings, or they cost this much, or my healings, or, so they don't do a follow-up. So yes, they help with marketing, but you've got to be smart about it. You can't just make lots and lots of videos, and you do have to consistently. I know Michelle mentioned, she says, I don't like social media. And I understand that, but I would have to say, if you want to run an online business, you need to find a way to at least tolerate social media. And I'll tell you why. And if you struggle with this, like, I do recommend learning how to do tapping. I talked about that before. I've got a Boost Your EFT, Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT tapping course on Udemy, or from someone else, learn how to do tapping. If it makes you wobble, if you go, I hate social media, I don't want to be on it, you'll find it very hard to run an online business if you can't be on social media. And that's for the simple reason is because if you're starting off, nobody's heard about you, and the way they'll hear about you is through YouTube and is through Facebook. That's how people get to know you, unless, let me say it again, you do something like I've done and you create Udemy courses. So I've expanded. I don't do Facebook ads, and I spend a lot of time on nurturing you guys in these groups, but I don't spend every day on Facebook. But I have a big reach because I made Udemy courses. So you need some kind of avenue that reaches out to people. Some people do it with email marketing, and you might have received some of those emails from people in the past. Again, for people to find you, to sign up for your email list, they usually find you on Facebook in a group or a free offer. So that's why, if you can do that. Yeah, okay, that's a great idea. So you say, can I give you tips to drive traffic to your Facebook page? I usually do a weekly general read and boost my posts. Oh, okay. The first tip I will give you, please don't pay for Facebook ads to boost your post. Okay, that is a big, huge, colossal waste of money. You don't need to do that. Get organic traffic. Now, I'm going to talk to you about organic traffic. So now, if you're really serious about this, Nipra, I do suggest looking at either, if not my course, someone else's course on mastering Facebook marketing, because it's a very complex, like my course is like 11 hours long, full of modules, because of that reason, because it's a very complex, there's a lot in there to learn. But very basically, the most important thing I would say is, please don't invest in Facebook ads until you've got a lot of money. The people I know who invest in Facebook ads are people who are making, $50,000, $60,000 a year already in their business. So I would avoid that for now. I would just focus on being really present and visible in Facebook groups. So let's talk about that a little bit, because that also pertains a lot to this group, because I want to help you guys get comfortable in Facebook groups. So the biggest mistake that people make with Facebook groups is they jump into a Facebook, and 70% of people do this, so don't feel named or shamed if you've done it. I've done it. They jump into a Facebook group. They don't take the time to read the guidelines. they don't take the time to get a feel for the group and see what days people post what offers. They only show up and post things when they're trying to sell stuff, or they only take up people's free offers and never buy from the group. These are 4 strategies that if you're doing currently in your business and you're trying to build up your exposure on Facebook, that you will go backwards and you will feel you'll feel like you're just wasting your time. And I'll tell you why. Think about a Facebook group as going to a bar, to a private party in a bar. And it's almost like you walk in and you walk up on the stage and you go, "Hi, I'm Jane and I'm here to sell readings." And, people are already connecting with each other. They've got their own vibe going, and a stranger walks in the room and says, "Hi, buy my stuff, buy my stuff." People on Facebook don't connect with that. It's not like TV advertising where you bombard people with ads enough that they see it and think, "I'm going to buy that." People connect with you in Facebook groups if you are being present and supporting people. And what I mean by that, so those of you who are in my Psychic Healing Hub, so I've got a group that's just for professionals, people who are already earning income. So I talk about that a lot in that group, and I talk about if you want to succeed in this group and you want to start earning income, then you need to show up and support people. Like if someone posts something, you need to say, "That sounds like a great idea," or "That's a beautiful image," or you need to make sure that you are being an active member of the community. If you show up into a group and this is what most people do, they show up and they don't read the rules and they ignore the fact that an admin spends a lot of time nurturing that group and time that they often don't get paid for, and they just kind of do whatever they feel like doing, then you're going to notice that no one takes you up on your offers. And I remember doing this early in the game when I first got started. I remember, jumping into groups and just posting and thinking nobody's buying off me. And I'd already had a big client base in real person, like not online. And so I remember being a bit hurt and like, what am I doing wrong? And partly it's because I'm not acting like a part of the community. I'm just acting like I'm there to sell. And people don't welcome that. And you might know from the rules in this group that I this is a study group. It's not so people can jump on and say, "Hi, I'm doing readings for $10. Come over here and I'll give you a reading for $10." Like that's not what I wanted for you guys in a study group. And sometimes yet people do it. Like they don't read the rules. They don't watch the video. They don't read the letter that I send out. I've got 4 different ways of communicating with people about how to be in the group, and they still don't do it. So it's about respecting the group community and wanting to be a community. Like I have met amazing people online and other entrepreneurs and people who I have supported and they have supported me by being an active member of the community. So that's a really good way to build up your presence on Facebook. It's a much better way than spending money on Facebook ads, because Facebook ads tend to be a little bit limited and they don't really have a very good return on investment unless you're already making lots of money in your business. So I hope that's helped, Nipra. So start being more present in groups, start supporting other groups. And on that actually helps. Now, if you wobble, I'm going to go back to your point, Nipra, as well. My advanced tarot program, I'll put a link here at the end. It's on the Psychic Healing Academy. So if you go type in Psychic Healing Academy on Google, it'll pop up and you'll see the 2018 one. Which is almost the same, but it's instead of having 6 coaching calls, there's a 7th coaching call that's like a marketing call where I go in and look at all your marketing and I give you tips on how to tweak your marketing. So it's pretty much exactly the same except for that addition. And money, the best way to start an online business is, so this is perfect what you're saying, you do need to learn about marketing. So, and I mentioned this if you weren't here earlier, Money, you need to learn a little bit about promoting yourself and marketing. Now, you can do one of my courses. I've got courses on that. Find someone else's courses that you resonate with. It doesn't have to be mine, but you do need to learn how to promote yourself and you do need to get comfortable with being visible. I know, trust me when I tell you, when I first started, like I got lucky because I worked in a shop and I didn't have to market myself hardly at all in the beginning. People came to me. When I went online, it became this whole other scary, frightening world that really pushed a lot of my buttons. Even though I'd already had a successful career as a reader and I still was petrified of posting offers in Facebook groups. I was petrified of up-leveling my website. I had a website, but, really up-leveling it so it attracted more clients. There was all this stuff that I was so frightened of. So I do suggest that you look at how do you feel, Money, about marketing yourself. Does that bring up issues for you? If that brings up issues for you, that's okay. It's very normal. Most tarot readers, most healers feel very uncomfortable marketing themselves. I know very few that are comfortable doing this. So please, if you feel uncomfortable, just, journal that out. Get to the bottom of why you're uncomfortable. If you want to go deeper, I do have a course that's called Boost Your Psychic Healing Gifts with EFT Tapping, where I talk about how to release blockages around being visible, about being exposed, about selling yourself. And I also have a past life therapy one in cases you've got some fears about everyone seeing you and getting like judgy of you and feeling like, who do you think you are? And throwing cyber eggs at you or something like that. So please don't worry if you feel threatened by marketing, because most people do. But however, I will be very realistic with you with love and grace. You do need to learn how to promote yourself, and I'll tell you why. Most people then come back to me and go, well, can't I just pay someone to market me? And I go, well, yes, if you're Coca-Cola, and yes, if you're Apple, and yes, if you are a visible hairdresser that has a shop on the street where they can direct traffic to. If you're not, you're going to spend a lot of money. You can. There are people out there that will charge you $10,000 or even $1,000 a month to SEO your website and to get you out there. But they're never going to speak in your voice, and they're never going to know how to connect with your ideal client in your voice. And you won't learn about how to put an offer in Facebook, or how to put an offer on YouTube, or how to put an offer in an email. Like, they can only speak in their kind of structured robotic voices. They don't know your voice, and it's your voice and your heart and your essence that will draw your ideal clients into your business. So that's why I think the best way to start is to practice and practice and practice until you feel confident with your readings. Then look at getting a web page, and then look at going in and setting up your Facebook business page. They would be my two big tips about how to start. For Tarot Online. Which one's that one? Nipra, you said, can I send you the link to the course that we take for Tarot Online? Which one? The 10-week advanced one, or the Build Your Spiritual Healing on a Business one? Just let me know. The marketing one. Yes, I can do that. Nipra, you mentioned a few courses. Is there some courses you have in Udemy about that? Okay, so I have one business course on Udemy, and that is Build Your Spiritual Healing Business on a Budget. It is better suited for bricks and mortar. There's a bit of online stuff in there, and there's how to set boundaries with clients, how to use free offers to bring in more clients. It has tax, it has setting up a website on a budget, it has things like business cards, it has refund and cancellation policies, it has things about insurance, it has like all those practical elements. There isn't social media in that though. So you can use it for online businesses, but you can also use it for bricks and mortar businesses. And my other one is called How to Earn More Income as a Tarot and Healing, with your Tarot and Healing Services. And that's one of my VIP programs. It's on the Psychic Healing Academy. And it's also a part of the bonus of the 10-week advanced tarot program as well. Just got the course. Which one? The Build Your Spiritual Healing Business, Brandon. Excellent. And my friends think I'm crazy, but I use tarot cards before buying my investments. Yeah, why not? The last step before pressing buy, never failed. Look, people have asked me this before. I don't have a problem with you using your tarot cards to buy an investment, as long as you say, what do I need to know about buying this investment? Don't say, should I buy this investment? Yes, no. Because if you say, let's say, for example, one of your biggest spiritual lessons in this life that you need to learn right now is how to deal with loss and debt and poverty. That's not a fun lesson, but many of us are learning it or have learned it. And you buy an investment and it gives you that lesson. Now, so that's what I'm saying. So the cards might push you in that direction because they want you to learn that lesson. I would say, what is it I need to know about this investment? I do this all the time with programs. So if I look at someone's doing a business program, I think, oh, should I invest in that? And I'll pull out my cards and what do I need to know? And I usually do a 3-card spread or a 1-card spread, and I ask, what do I need to know? I don't have a problem with that. I have more of a problem of the whole manipulating the stock marketing thing, because I don't think it's really great to use it for that purpose, because the tarot is more designed to give you spiritual wisdom to help you make decisions, if that makes sense. So I hope that makes a bit of differentiation. Money. Thank you so much. Yes, I don't usually like the spotlight, but I guess that's what you have to do. I'll check out your other courses. You love me as a teacher. Thank you. You're so grateful. Thank you. Okay, so give me 2 seconds and I will go back in and do that. I'll put the marketing ones there in a minute. I'm glad Manny brought that up about not being in the spotlight, because this is my next big tip. And again, so many people, I see them do it and I just want to reach out and hug them and say, but if I did, I'd be hugging and contacting 50 million people a day. Again, you'll feel uncomfortable with this, some of you. Some of you will resist it. Some of you will go, no, I can't do that, Sal. Please don't make me do that. And that is, if you're going to be in an online business, you really need to have a picture on your Facebook thing. You need to have a picture on your website. It doesn't have to be the most amazing picture. You don't have to look like a cosmopolitan model. I buy online all the time from people who do not look like cosmopolitan models. I buy online all the time from people that haven't had professional photography done. If you go in for amusement's sake and look at my Udemy, the picture that goes with my biography with Udemy, it's from about 10 years ago, and it actually had 3 or 4 of my friends in it, and then I paid someone $5 on Fiverr to get rid of the background. That's my photo for Udemy in my biography, not for the course images. So it doesn't have to be a professional spick and span photo, but people have to look at you. Like sometimes I see people advertising their products in Facebook groups or in their business page, and there's no picture of them. And I go, well, I'm not going to buy off someone that I don't have a picture on, because I don't feel any connection. And if you are smiling and you are in a picture and, you know, just exuding that warmth, then people will be attracted to that. And again, if you're feeling, oh my God, I can't put my picture, I can't, then tap that out. Find ways to clear the blockages, go see a healer about it, like clear it. But please know that you will be doing your business a great disservice if there isn't a way for people to see that you're a real person and not just a picture of a tarot card. And, you know, that's just the nature of online business. It's different. Like if I think about when I first got started and I was working from home, I tend to find that people weren't as attached. Like I do a Gumtree ad, which in the States is a bit like Craigslist, you know, tarot reader, manly, and I wouldn't put a picture, but people would come because they were like, well, I'm going to a real address, so I trust that's a real person. Whereas online, people need to trust you. They need to connect with you, and they can't do that if you don't have a picture. So even if it's a small little picture somewhere on your website, even if your banner is something else and there's a tiny little picture of somewhere of just you smiling, and, you know, like that, I would highly recommend that you do that. Brandon, I've never heard of that. I use my tarot to help pick my knitting size to make. That is fantastic. That's the best one I've ever heard. So you can do that, absolutely. That's awesome. Michelle. Okay, my biggest issue is absorbing people. I wear people I'm not even aware of until I realise it. You enrolled in the psychic class is good, because that will keep that in check. Cool. Yeah, thank you for mentioning other courses. Yeah, yes, like if you definitely How to Be Psychic on Udemy, and Psychic Readings Intermediate level go a lot more into how to protect yourself from absorbing everything. And you do need to be careful with that with tarot readings, and you do need to just be aware when you're running a business that you don't want to get to the end of your readings and feel like you have just run a 50-kilometer marathon, because then you won't want to keep doing it. And, you know, you love the tarot. That's why you want to do it. So yes, that's definitely good. That's a good strategy. Okay, so I just want to see if anyone else has got any questions before I move on to the next thing. So, so just revisiting that, look for Facebook groups that have your vibe. So what I mean by that is, you know, go in, spend a bit of time before you post and just see what people are doing. If you can see there's negativity in there, then, you know, that's maybe not your vibe. And check and read all the rules and make sure that they allow postings of promotional level. My rule of thumb is I don't tend to post a paid promotion in any Facebook group until I have participated on other days that are non-promotions, or like I've given away a free offer, or if they have a gratitude day, I post a picture of me being grateful, things like that. So, you know, do that. Don't just show up on days where you're selling stuff, because people won't really get to know you, and they will buy from you once they get to know you. Now, on that level, I'm going to take it to the next level. My third tip about biggest mistake that people make when they start an online business. And I've been guilty of this too. And, you know, I've seen many people do this. And that is, they don't invest anything in their business. They just, you know, kind of think the magic fairies are going to draw traffic to them. or they invest too much. Now, what I mean by that is they go out and do these super duper duper expensive programs, like I mentioned previously, and then they haven't got any clients yet. Like, you want to start earning money first and then reinvesting it into your business. The other thing that they do is and this is a really interesting one, and those of you who know the law of attraction will be really dinging on this one. They only ever take free offers up, but they never pay for them. Now, I want you to take if you've done this before, like say you've showed up to this group here and all you've ever done is take free readings from people when they offer, but you've never given a free reading. Or you've showed up to other groups and when people offer free things, you always jump on their free things, but when they offer paid things, you just ignore them and scroll right past. I'm here to tell you one of my keys to success that I believe from the very early beginning, and those of you who've done my manifesting course will remember me talking about this, was that I was willing from the beginning to pay for readers and healers. And that's when I had no money. That's when I was 32 years old, sleeping on my girlfriend's couch with no job, no partner, no money, no house, nothing. But I remember going and walking like something, it was like a 35-minute walk to earn really little money just to save up for healings, because I was like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't be on this couch at 32 years old when I've already left my career to start this business and da-da-da-da-da. I had to really go, okay, I need to clear this. And so I pay for readings and I pay for healings. And if you're someone who has never paid for a reading or never paid for a healing, again, I'm not naming and shaming you. I want you just to think about how energetically that sends up to the universe about readers being deserved to be paid, because that's something to think about. If you don't think that you should ever pay for readings or pay for healings, then nobody will think that your readings and healings are worth paying for. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not trying to be horrible and negative. I'm just saying, like, we are beautiful energetic beings, and the sooner we start, and I don't get any money out of this, by the way, because I'm not doing one-on-one readings or healings at the moment, but please, I encourage you for two reasons. The first reason is you're showing to the universe that you believe readings are worth money. And therefore, when you start charging, other people will be attracted to you that believe readings are deserved money, and you won't just get people who want free stuff. Healings are worth being paid for. Pay your healers well. Like, those of you who have been giving free readings in this group know already it takes a lot of energy to give a reading. It takes a lot of protecting yourself and staying in your heart and connecting with spirit and learning the cards. And so, like, in terms of valuing that, like, when you only ever take free readings from people and you never buy from them, then you're basically saying readers don't deserve to be paid. And my answer to that is, like, if you think readers don't deserve to be paid, then you're going to struggle to run a successful tarot business, because you're saying the universe, readers don't deserve to be paid. Now, you might say to me, well, Sal, I have really no money, but I need a reading. Okay, first thing I'd say is, first, exhaust all possibilities. See if you can sell something on eBay. Ask for a birthday present. See if you can save up the way I just spoke about how I did. See if you can do babysitting, anything. Like, write down 50 ways you could try to come up with enough money for a reading or a healing. Second, if not, what you do is you stalk that person. If somebody gives you a free reading and you know they're running a business or trying to build up clients, and they've given you like a half-hour reading, then you spend half an hour of your time giving to their business. So what I mean by that is, you go online and you put a testimonial, and if you ever see their offer in a group, you say, this person gives great readings. They're fantastic. I loved my reading with them. So you look at ways you can support them. I see all too often in Facebook groups, I see the very sad thing of people not doing this. And as I said, I find it heartbreaking, because I really want readers to go out there and feel comfortable succeeding. And it's hard when you get knocked down like that, when you give away free stuff and people don't come back and buy off you, even though you've done your best to do them a service, or they don't even sometimes thank you. So please invest in readings and healings. And I'm going to give you the second reason why this has been a #1 success story for me. When I first went into a group that some of you might have heard of if you've done one of my other courses, called the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs. Now, this is a female entrepreneur group. Going into that group, when I first entered it about 5 years ago, there was 20,000 people in that group. Me jumping in and saying, hi, I do readings, I do healings, and I sell courses. No one knew me. No one knew me. No one bought anything. No one even liked what I wrote. And I was like, as I said, I'd be really like, oh my goodness. I started buying from people in the group. So I'd look at a graphic designer and I'd buy something off her. I'd do a kinesiology session. what I started noticing is every time I posted an offer, the people who I had bought from would write, awesome offer, Sal, or I love Sal's energy, or, you know, because I'd supported their business. I had sort of basically, you know, supported them and they wanted to support me back. And also because they knew me. So one of the ways that people will get to know you is if you buy off them. Now, I'm obviously not saying if you don't have, if you, and I don't want you to go and spend $2,000 on buying from 50 different people and use that as a strategy, but I would say going into groups and looking at people's readings and going, okay, well, you know, who am I drawn to, and investing in that, or in a healing if you've got blockages, is a great way to get known. Or if it's a group that sells more, like it's an entrepreneur group and it doesn't just sell readings, it sells other things, then go buy a package of a graphic design package, or go buy a website thing, or go buy something else. This will make you laugh. This year I bought a ukulele package because I wanted to learn the ukulele. Last year. And so I bought that earlier on in the year, the year before. I bought this 10-pack ukulele thing. Now, the woman in there who I bought it off, I'd met her in person even at a conference once years ago. And I'd seen her around the traps, and when I bought from her, and you know, I love her. It was doing online lessons with her was awesome. But every time I post an offer now, she will write something fantastic in there, like "I love your energy, Sal," or you know, "I love the sound of this offer, Sal." Even if she's not buying off me, she's supporting me. And I want you to start getting used to thinking about Facebook as not somewhere where you are just getting in there and selling, but somewhere where you are creating community and supporting others as well. So that really will help you get by some of those blockages. Okay, so I hope that helps people. Pamela, definitely look into that in the future. You're pretty new to tarot and you'll take your other courses. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love the way you teach from the heart. Thank you. Thank you, Pamela. Mika, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your course on Udemy. I'm so glad. Thank you. Will that help drive traffic to my own Facebook page? Yes, by getting in Facebook groups. Great question. So yes, I mean, what happens obviously when you're in Facebook groups, they often have free days. So make sure that your Facebook group offers something. So for me, my Facebook group, some of you might already be in it, my Facebook page, every week I do free tarot readings. So I do a three card spread from 3 different decks, and I get people to pick one and I post it the next day. Now, I can go into a Facebook group on what's called a free day. So when they say offer free things today, and I say, hi everyone, if you want to, check out free weekly Facebook readings, just go to Sal Jade Clairvoyant Healer, and I put the link, and then that drives traffic. So yes, you can also drive traffic by doing Facebook Lives like I am now. So that's another good way to do it. Oh, thank you, Victor. You're just in the middle of the course and you're loving it. Your sister makes it easy to remember. Big fan from Mexico. Thanks. Pleasure. Shireen, hello, darling. I hope you got my email. Hello, Al9. Hello, Nipra. Pleasure. So I hope those 3, I'm just going to quickly go over those again. So those of you who just jumped in, the 3 essential things to think about is, and all of these involve, is what you're thinking and your thoughts and your mindset. Have you got conscious goals that you're aiming towards, but you're contradicting them with your subconscious beliefs? Like, are you afraid of being visible and afraid of marketing yourself, but you want to make a success as an online reader? And I'm going to give you one alternative, by the way. If that is the case, if you're someone who says, look, Sal, I just can't bear to be on social media. I can't bear YouTube. I can't bear Facebook. I never want to drive traffic to anything. That sounds like I'd rather poke myself in the eye with 50 knives than do that. If that's where you're at, then what I suggest is to go out and get a job, okay? Now, that's not an easy thing to do because that's working for someone. They take a big part of your profit. But working on a phone line, for example, so in my 10-week advanced tarot program, I go into all the whole thing about how good a phone line works and some realities and goods and pluses of, doing online readings in terms of Skype readings and phone readings and emails and getting signed up to phone companies. Just consider, though, that that's not a big money-making potential. And it's, like you might earn, from what I know from people who have done it, and I've never done it, so it's not my thing, but I know a lot of people who have done, and I brought together a lot of experts to share what to do, is I do know that you don't earn a lot that way. Whereas if you are in Facebook and you're in YouTube and you're investigating how to build up your presence, then obviously the profit's all yours and you get to set your prices, which is much more powerful. So, but if you really don't want to be anywhere near social media, then maybe working for a company might be a better option for you. Awesome. Okay. So the second tip I talked about being visible, getting comfortable. If you're wobbling, if you're like, I don't want to put a picture of myself. I don't want to be present. I don't want to make offers. If you feel that happening, it's very normal. Don't beat yourself up. But I would suggest either getting a healing from someone to look at it, because it's not going to get better. It doesn't just go away, trust me. Or you could do an inexpensive version. You could do my Boost Your EFT tapping course on Udemy, where I look at clearing out the fear of being judged and being visible and being, people seeing you as a reader or as a healer. Or even if you think you've got past life stuff, looking at removing any fears about being hurt or damaged or exposed or judged on that level. So there's different things you can do, or do someone else's courses on healing this, because if it's coming up for you, that's all right, but you just want to nip it in the bud as soon as possible so you don't waste time. And the third thing, as I said, invest in your business and buy off others. Like that's, as I said, I never thought that would be a business strategy for me, but I learned the more that I supported other people's businesses, the more people supported my businesses. That's just kind of how the energy of the universe loves it. It loves it. I don't mean putting yourself in bankruptcy by spending a $2,000 program on your credit card. I don't mean that. I mean, just look at, investing a little bit. Make it your commitment this year. If you've never paid for a reading, or you haven't paid for a reading for a long time, make it a commitment for 2020 to find a reading and pay for it. Like go into some Facebook groups and look for someone and pay for a reading, just so that you're sending that energy that, yes, readers do deserve to be paid. So I hope that's helped. Oh, here we go, Leah. I worked reading tarot for Psychic Phone Lines, and you do get good money, but it's a smaller family-run company, not one of the big ones. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, that's inspiring, because I only am aware of the big ones. So that's if you ever feel comfortable putting the name here, if you're not comfortable, but if you put it down, maybe people might find that useful and they can go and investigate that as an option. Because, all the ones I know that people have worked for have not been as good a money. But if that's a family one, that sounds beautiful. That sounds a lot more nurturing too. So that's really good to know for those of you that are a little bit afraid of putting yourself out there visibly. Although I assume, Leah, there's probably still a certain amount of traffic driving you have to do. I've just checked, or maybe you're not allowed to. Let me know about that, because I know some phone lines have rules that you can't actually drive traffic to your websites or to other places. So keep that in mind as well. So I'm not sure if you can or can't do that. So I hope that has helped everybody. Those of you who wanted the links, I will pop them in here and I will tag you with the links to just tell me what the name of the program is that you wanted and I'll pop it in there. I'm now going to answer, and if you've got any more questions about running an online business, just pop it in here while I answer a couple of more questions that came in through the week. So Beta Bay, I hope I've said your name right, sweetie, asked me about the court cards and was a little bit confused about when you draw a court card and you're not sure if it's a person or a situation, what does it mean if it's a situation? Most of the time, a situation will be in the case of a knight. So, and that usually means you in that situation. So what I mean by that, if you draw, it's not a person around you, it's not a knight around you, but it's a situation, that usually means you are going to be acting in that way. So you're going to be a knight of swords. So that might mean you're running all over the place, but not really grounding yourself or not really thinking. Or you're being a knight of pentacles and you're moving forward slowly and progressively with your career and finance goals. So that's what a situation usually means for a knight. Cups usually with a situation thing mean good news. So a good news situation's coming or news is coming in. That's what they generally mean if it's a situation. One further thing I'll just quickly answer Beta's thing about the courts is what happens if you draw a third card to see if it's negative or positive and it's still a court. Okay, I would, first of all, maybe take that to mean that you're not meant to know right now, because that's a lot of courts coming up all in one reading. That's a huge court thing, and I know how challenging the courts can be. But generally, for me, it would depend on what the card is. If it's a king or a queen, that could tend to be a positive thing, because kings and the queens are where we have mastered. Like the king and queen of pentacles are where you've mastered money. The king and queen of cups, you've mastered love and romance and creativity and intuition. The king and queen of wands have mastered career and ambition and tempered those more impulsive teenage things of the knight. So, or the childlike stuff of the page. So I would tend to think, depending on what it was, if it was one of the higher ones, I'd say it's definitely a positive. But look, if it's a page, it could be a positive too, because you're kind of learning. It just depends. For me, the only two kind of negative processes with the courts are the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords. I tend to find the Knight and Swords and Page of Swords can often mean you're too much in your head and you haven't grounded your thoughts enough. So that would be my only answer to that. But otherwise, if that happens and you don't know, just pull another one, because that's a lot of courts. That's a very rare that will happen. Victor, one question. Oh, perfect. No, so I answered that earlier, but that's okay. I'll answer it again. At what point are you confident charging for your readings? There is no exact point because everybody's different. But for me, I had done between 50 and 60 free readings and healings before I felt like I was ready. You might feel like you need more. However, I will suggest, please don't be a perfectionist. When I talked about time and planning earlier, don't feel like you have to have your website and everything ready before you start charging for readings. Like, just make, and don't feel like you have to go get professional photos done. You have to have signed up to some super duper $3,000 business course. Please don't feel like you have to do all that before you're ready. But you do need to make sure that you have had a sufficient amount, and I would say a high, 80%, of readings have come back with really positive results, I would say. And I would say do at least 50 to 60. That's when I knew. I'd done about 50 to 60 freebies, and then I thought, okay, I'm ready now. So I hope that helps. Now, and another thing I would suggest, Victor, is try to buddy up with people. So something I talk about a lot in How to Be Psychic is I had a friend that I buddied up with at a theta healing course, and we practiced reading tarot and reading psychic angel readings and doing theta healings on each other. So it was kind of nice to have that consistency. We'd reach out to each other every few weeks and go, hey, do you want to exchange? And we kind of grew together. So that's a really nice way to do it as well. Leah, talking about your family-run psychic phone line, they do all the advertising. We don't even have a photo of us on the website, so we stay anonymous. We don't obviously advertise our own businesses, and we do work through them. Perfect. So that would be a great solution, Leah. If you're someone out there who doesn't really want to put your photo and you want to be anonymous, then that's a really great solution. So that is good to know that there are options and opportunities out there. It's good money and you work from home. You get additional bonuses for repeat clients. Awesome. It's an Australian-run family business too, and you read under an alias. Okay, that's amazing. Leah, if you feel comfortable putting the name of that here, that would probably help lots of people. Definitely, because that's, for those of you who are introverts and you're not ready to put your photo on your page yet, and that could be a great way to get started. That after you've done, a lot of practice readings and you feel confident, that could be a great way to put yourself out there without feeling too visible. Victor, thank you so much. Pleasure. And ask how to make sure that my ego is not affecting the reading. I mentioned it in the course. No, I don't mention it in this course, but I do mention it in Psychic Readings Intermediate level. So I do suggest if you want to go more into how to be a professional psychic when it comes to the mindset stuff, I would look at Psychic Readings Intermediate level on Udemy. But just very briefly, I always go into my readings with a lot of ritual, and I spend 10 to 15 minutes before each reading tuning in and just taking the time to connect with my guides, and I say whatever comes through is what is meant to be here. I ask my guides to make sure I'm not being judgmental of my clients and their situations. That's really important. Also, so yeah, and that's what I would do. If you're having a lot of trouble with that, I'd maybe look at Psychic Readings Intermediate level on Udemy. If you're only having a bit of a trouble, yeah, just call in your guides and ask them to come in from a non-ego perspective and to be non-judgmental. That's the best way of how I do it. And I spend some time before reading just getting into my pureness and my heart, and that helps too. Leah, awesome. People can PM you for information about about this Australian awesome run business. Thank you. That sounds like such a good thing, Leah. I love it. Okay, so anyone else got any more online questions? If I've missed your question, I do apologise. Facebook works in wacky ways. As those of you know, this is my third attempt to connect with you this morning because of the internet. So please chuck it in there. There might be a delay in me getting your questions. The Hierophant, some lovely person, and I'm sorry I didn't write down your name. I was a bit of a rush this morning. The Hierophant, you keep getting the Hierophant, or you don't understand what the Hierophant means in a reading. The Hierophant is all about spiritual wisdom. So if you look at the Magician as being your law of attraction, you use will and you use action together to use your magic. You look at the High Priestess as being using your intuition. You look at the Hierophant as using your wisdom. So what I mean by your wisdom is that can often be a little bit more intellectual wisdom, if you will. So the Hierophant was originally in the original tarot decks, the Pope. Now, obviously, some of us have some not very great associations these days with those things, but it was originally like a higher person that was connecting to the creator, that was a human. And it often indicates that either you are about to really deepen, enrich your spiritual wisdom, usually means you're going to bring in some new spiritual teachers, and it's the right time that you're ready. However, don't give away all your power to these gurus. That's the only thing. Like, take what works, but if you're reading more spiritual books, or you're reading more books about things that are evolving you consciously, take it all on, but don't become a slave to it. That's the only kind of little warning, embrace it without being enslaved, I guess. It's a positive card. It's also a bit of a practical card, an earthy card. It's also a Taurus card in that way, so it's a bit practical. But yeah, I would take it, if you're getting it in your readings, it basically means a spiritual shift coming up and new teachers coming in. So I hope that helps you understand the Hierophant a bit more. Or if it's a blockage or a solution, it might be, spiritual wisdom's needed for this. So maybe some exploration of consciousness and mindfulness and some of those more, connecting with higher realms or connecting with the creator or the universe. So more kind of religious, but without the dogma and judgment, that kind of thing. That's how I would take that to be. So I'm just going to scroll. So I hope that's helped the lovely person who wrote about that. Is there anything else I had to? I don't think so. Oh, okay. Oh, I know. Okay, so something exciting that's coming into you this year in tarot after many, many, many requests is. So I've slowly started all my intermediate level courses on Udemy right now. So that's Master Health Readings and Give Psychic Love Readings and Psychic Readings Intermediate Level. They all have a Sal Jade Psychic Healing Academy certificate that goes with it, like a certificate of completion. I am this year bringing in Tarot Card Success as a completion certificate as well from the Psychic Healing Academy. It's going to take a couple of months. The reason I haven't done it before is because it takes a whole system that I've got to set up with my beautiful VA. And so I'm going to set that up. This month, those of you who have done remove psychic blocks with EFT tapping, I'm introducing that one as a certificate, and then I'm going to next month introduce Tarot Card Success as a certificate. So if you've completed the course, not now, but wait a month, and don't worry, I'll announce it again in the next one. Being able to, and you can reach out to Kathy on team@saljade.com in the next month and ask her if she knows if they've come out yet. But I'm going to release those for you, or if you haven't completed, I'll give you instructions at the end of the course. So you can go back into the course and I will tell you how you can get that certificate. And now I want to talk also about the 10-week advanced tarot program. So as I've mentioned, those of you might have heard me talk about it before. So this is something I created about 4 years ago, and I ran it 3 years in a row, and it was amazing. Like it's an amazing sort of opportunity for me to work with people like this, but I'm seeing you read. So it's usually, I have a limit of about 30 people, and it usually sells out because it's the only way you can kind of get coaching from me in that way, like group coaching. And it has 7 coaching calls over 10 weeks, and it has modules on advanced tarot, advanced clairvoyant healing, like being able to connect with guides and angels and heal with the tarot as well as how to market yourself and promote yourself. There's a huge aspect on looking at online readings, so being able to do successful phone readings, how to do email readings, Skype readings, like just the differences between that and normal readings. And there's also stuff about numerology, astrology, reversals, what else is in there? Mythology, symbology, there's loads and loads in there, so much in there. It's something like nearly 50 hours of modules and content. I do run it live, and you can do it live starting at the end of March for the 10 weeks. And so it has those 7 coaching calls that take place over 10 weeks, and they're in 2 different time zones so that you've got a time-friendly zone. Also, you can do it evergreen at a discount. So what that means is you're not paying the full price and you're not getting the coaching calls, but you can do it off. What I mean by offline is you can do it without being live. So if you know you're not going to be able to make any of the coaching calls, it's better, you'll save money if you do it not doing it live, basically. So and also through that will come the certification exam. So I'll sit down with you and do an actual certification exam. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to me, sal@saljade.com, and I can give you more information about that. So we've already got 3 people signed up because they wanted to do it last year and I didn't run it. As I said, I do usually hit the limit at 30 because I want to be as intimate and being able to help you as possible. During the 10 weeks, I commit a lot of time to basically helping you with any challenges you have with advanced tarot, with advanced channeling, with your business, that kind of thing. So that's why I do limit it to 30 people. So if you are interested, just pop me an email and I can send you some information. Or if you go and look at the Psychic Healing Academy, you'll see the one from 2018. Okay, I hope that has helped everybody, and I'm hoping I haven't forgotten anything. Sometimes I just talk and then I forget what I was going to talk about. I miss stuff. Okay, I think that's everything. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined me. If you are joining me as a replay and you're not, yes, it is random. Unfortunately, I can only do it once a year because of my travel schedule, because I go overseas all through the middle of the year, so I can only do it once a year. So if you can't do it this year, I hopefully will be offering it next year, or you can do it anytime you want. If you do it without the coaching calls, like that, you can start tomorrow if you want without the coaching calls. That's not a problem. But if you want to do it live, then yeah, I only run it from March to the beginning of June at this time of year. But yeah, if you want to know more, by all means, you just want to find out information, there's no obligation to sign up. But if you think it's something that might work for you, you might be interested in it, just send me an email and I can give you that information. So I hope that has helped everybody with being able to, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention too, I get this request often and I couldn't do it last year either. So I have 4 spots left for coaching this year as well. I haven't officially launched my mentorship coaching program yet. I've got one person who signed up already, and before I've even launched it, I'll be talking about it in the next couple of months. So it's basically a 6-month one-on-one coaching thing that's primarily business strategy. There is some readings and healings that I do in there on you as well. But yeah, so if you are interested in that, just email me at sal@saljade.com and I can send you information. If you're someone who maybe thinks, I don't know if I want to be in a group program. Randon, single mum, so coaching calls might be hard. Oh, do you mean, okay, so Randon, what time zone are you in? I'm sorry if you've already answered that. Where are you in, like what country? Because I tend to do them, depending on where you are, I tend to do them for some people so they're at night and some people they're in the morning. I tend to offer one of each. So just let me know and I can answer that. If anyone else has any questions about being visible and being able to improve your online business, if there's something I haven't covered here today, by all means, chuck it in there. And those of you who've asked for different links, I will go through and post them under that. And I hope, Brandon, I'm just waiting to hear from you. It's all right, darling. If you haven't got time to do it now, just pop in what time zone you're in so I can figure that out for you. And as I said, any more questions, I'm going to come back in and check and answer some questions, put #replay if I'm not live. It might take me a couple of days to get back to you if I'm not live. I have my brother-in-law's family coming this weekend to stay, so I won't be on my computer all weekend. So please don't be anxious or worried if you've asked me a question and it's taking me till Monday to get back to you. I will be on email for the rest of today, but I'll be going to Australia Zoo to see all the animals tomorrow. Mountain standard. By mountain standards, do you mean the USA, like the middle? Is that right? The Colorado, I assume that is what you mean. So that is not EST or PST, but the middle one. And it changes sometime from my memory because I've had people in the mountain one before from the US and it changes. So from memory, I think the times I did that were about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So there was a time that you could do. So I don't know how old your kiddies are, but they might be in bed by then. And so you might be able to do it as a nighttime thing. Okay, my loves, signing up. Some readers put prices up on website and don't. Oh, what's the best approach? Okay. Oh, thank you for asking that. I'm going to give you 2 website tips. 100% please put prices on websites. And I'll tell you why. I get frustrated and annoyed. Like, people have a very small, we are the TV generation and the Facebook generation. We have a very small little limited amount of time that we can spend looking and clicking. If you have to make people click and click and click and click for prices, they get frustrated and they get annoyed and they'll go off and find someone else. I'm always transparent with how much money I earn, and I put it on my website for the reason that people need to know, can they afford me? Because, and I tell you why, because some people feel like if they reach out to me and they can't afford me, then they're going to feel ashamed. And so they just won't. And I do this too. I'm, even though sometimes if someone's selling a graphics design package and I go, oh, I like the size of that, but what if it's like $5,000 and I don't have $5,000 right now? I'm going to feel embarrassed because I'm going to see that person in the Facebook group and they're going to know I don't have $5,000, and crazy human beings that we are, I'll go on a story about it. So be obvious with your pricing. Like, this is how much the price is. Now, it's a good question because I do suggest as much as possible putting it, if you can, in US dollars, because if you're having an international base, because most people understand US dollars, or put it in your currency and then do the translation in brackets. So if it's 50 euro, then put what that is conversion in US, roughly, basically. So say approximately, and then put that. But yes, please, people want to know up front if they can afford to work with you before they, do that. I would say definitely with the website. And yeah, so I hope that helps, Leah. I definitely do that. The second thing is, most people don't learn this until it's way too late. On your website, please, in the contact spot, don't put your email address. And I'll tell you why. I only found this out recently. I started, I'd had a different email address associated with my website. And I was always getting these spams and I didn't know why. I thought it was for some other reason. I changed to my sal@saljade.com one. And suddenly all these entrepreneurs, digital media, digital this, course line platform creators started spamming me. And, oh, I'm sorry to contact you out of the blue and da-da-da-da. And you might think, oh, it's all right if people do that. And look, trust me, it's really not. When you're getting 10 a day and you're snapping it open and deleting, or replying, sorry, I don't need help with this, that's your beautiful, precious time. So make sure on your website that you don't have your email address there. Have a contact form. So most even Wix and Squarespace and the cheapest ones will have an aspect for a contact form and tell people to contact, and that goes to your email. So it's the same effect, except that people can't spam you. And the way they spam you, unfortunately, companies now can get these things called Autobots, where they scan websites and look for web addresses, and then they just spam you. So and you can't unsubscribe for them because they're not doing it's really tricky to unsubscribe from them. You've got to email them and say, please take me off your mailing list. These are things that you don't want to be doing with your beautiful time. So on your website, have a contact form, not your email address. Leah, you've always been upfront. Yeah, great idea for US. Yes, definitely, because that way, most people in the world know generally what the US currency is, and if they don't, as I said, provide the alternative, provide the local currency, because you might get someone who is in Canada who's looking at your prices, and you live in Australia, so there's differences in those dollars. So just put it in US as well as your local if you feel like doing that. So thank you, everyone. I just want to scroll through to see if I've missed anyone. I don't think I have. No. And thank you for everyone who's joined me offline, who's got this through their Udemy educational announcements. I did mention earlier, if you want to receive these every month, because I do tend to do one a month or one every 2 months, if you want to get them and you're not on Facebook much, then please make sure in your Udemy course that where it says educational announcements in your settings, that you make sure that's not ticked off. Make sure that, it's ticked. So then you'll get my educational announcements, because I'll send this out so that you can have it. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. You've been here a long time. It's been like a 90-minute presentation, and I wasn't expecting it to go on that long, but like everything I do, my courses, my Facebook Lives, they all go on that long. And please, thank you to those of you who sat through 3 intros for me today. As you can see, I actually had my backdrop and I was doing it all professionally, and it bombed out and I couldn't finish the Facebook Live and it kept cutting out. So thank you to those for your patience who had to sit through 3 intros. And again, if you have any questions, pop them in here. Thanks so much for joining me.